Well, as the weekend is drawing to a close, doesn't mean we have to end things here. So today we're going to have a very interesting review for all of you. The first one is going to be from the only promotion from the country of Thailand, SetUp Thailand Pro Wrestling. I actually mentioned this promotion before on certain occasions. I might have reviewed one of the or two of their events, but this one is a very special one called Bangkok Strong Style. This one features two wrestlers coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I think many of you will be excited to hear about this review. And then, of course, we move on with Stardom in Kyoto. As you know, this one features a very special event. One of them involves a one time reunion of the members of DDM that consisted of Julia, Maika, Natsupoi, Sudi, Mirai, and Mai Sakurai. I know some of you are probably questioning, but there's two more missing. Well, we know one is retired, one is still out on injury, but that doesn't mean anything. But as long as it was a good reunion, but at the same time, we also have, of course, the New Blood Tag Team titles on the line. Our current winner of the Cinderella tournament, Hanan, and her tag partner, fellow star member Saida, defend their tag team belts against the members of EXV, Waka Tsukiyama and Hanako. So we'll see how that rolls up. And then, of course, we finally gonna do a very interesting showcase show from the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, which is run by none other than the natural and part of the legendary Rhodes family, Dustin Rhodes. This one features three title matches, but among them is the first for the inaugural tag team titles. And I think this one is something you guys may or may not want to be interested, but I would say this, keep an open mind. And then, of course, we cap it up with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set. We also got updates for the upcoming WrestleCon in Philly, and I don't know if any of my subscribers out there really are planning to go to Philly to check out WrestleMania or the stuff that's happening outside of it. You want to hear who's going to be there, and then of course some developments as well that you need to hear about. So let's get ready for another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay Roddy here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions from not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if anything happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be alerted for all of you. We also do the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside. I say it's time to stop with the chit chat, yappy yappy. It's time to, of course, to start with our very first review. And it's been a while since I did this one, and I think many of you may or may not have heard of this promotion. This is coming straight out of the country, Thailand. SetUp Thailand Pro Wrestling. Okay, our first review. This is from the promotion known as SetUp Thailand Pro Wrestling. Now, any of you guys know the reason I created this channel was because I like to keep you guys the keep an open mind where wrestling is existing. Some of you may think there is no way Thailand has a wrestling promotion. Well, they do. It started with Got to Move that was ran by Emi Sakura. She spent many years in Thailand and forming it. But when Got to Move left, Setup became the second wave that took over the scene after Got to Move. I have seen many of their events before. We do know that Setup does have a bit of a working relationship with Got to Move. Many of their talents from Got to Move go to Setup, or Setup comes to Got to Move, that sort of thing. However, I think it was last year or this year, somewhere so, Setup was announced they're going to be part of the Asian Pacific Wrestling Federation, which is a bit of an alliance between promotions across the the Asian Pacific. More specifically, Japan has, of course, Stardom and New Japan, part of that working relate you know alliance, and so is promotions from, let's say, from Singapore. They have Grapple Max. I have heard of their name, but I haven't seen. There's an event that I haven't checked out. I may do that on a special episode. Then there's, of course, Puzzled by Taiwan, and I forgot the name another one from China. And then, of course, Setup is one of them. So this one features not only wrestlers from New Japan. This one featured, of course, the ones who did showed up from New Japan is Zack Sabre Jr. and El Fantasmo. They even brought in talent from Puzzle, three of them to be exact. So I will address those wrestlers as we go. There is two titles that have been announced that were on the line of this one, and I'll get to those as well. So let's begin from the start of the show. This took place recently on the 23rd of March in Bangkok. This one's called Bangkok Strong Style. So yeah, so you probably can get that interesting. Oh, before I move on, if you guys are gonna ask me, J Rod, how do I see the show? Simple. Go on YouTube, type in "set up together," and then type in the rest, Thailand Pro Wrestling. So you will be able to see it. So if you guys are interested, go on YouTube. Now, let's get started with the very first match. We have an interesting three-way. We have Bital Hasdin, I don't know who he is, and then there's the Gatekeeper and, of course, Pasca. Now, I have seen the Gatekeeper and Pasca before on previous reviews with Setup. Pasca has that type of, hardcore deathmatch looking style, but on this match, it wasn't initially a hardcore or deathmatch style as I would have presumed, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a pretty good, but however, in three-way matches, it's very unpredictable who's going to walk out as the winner. But it was, of course, Pascal with the stomp onto the gatekeeper, and just like that, they won. Now, our next match, we have Mickey Wild and Jenny. Now, if you guys don't know this, Jenny actually had a bit of a interaction with the ladies from Stardom. She did had a match when Stardom were in Thailand last year, but she was involved with this guy, Mikey Wild. I don't know what their deal is. Apparently, they kidnapped somebody that was close to Terry Diesel, the opponent, and his partner is Charlie. So of course, Terry Diesel attacked Mickey Wild. So basically, it was more like, trying to get payback for what these two guys did. I don't know exactly the full story because I haven't seen a whole lot of setup, but I'll promised I'll try to include them more on reviewing them so you guys would enjoy it. But it was a pretty good match. But in the end, it was Terry Diesel with a somewhat of a choke bomb into a backbreaker onto Ginny, allowing for Charlie to pick up the win. So just like that, it was over. And whoever Mikey Wild and Ginny have as their hostage, Terry Diesel got her back and just left. So just like that. Now, this wrestler I am familiarized with. I've seen him too many times, especially when it came to Got to Move. We have Monomoth versus Landon Hale. Now, Monomoth, he's a very interesting wrestler. He looks more like a angel type, but I'm going to presume that he's homosexual, which I'm not having a problem with that. But he has a unique character. He is like, you may think of him that, okay, he's just an angel, but no, he's as tough as nails. I mean, the dude knows what he was doing, but I did not expect a whole lot when it comes to London Hale. Now, London Hale would stop at nothing, but this match was so intensified. I wasn't too sure who was going to walk out as the winner. I was like, damn, they were going back and forth, move after move, submission after submission, finisher after finisher, but it was in the end by Monomoth with the pottering. The same move that Sayuri Nua used, he used that as well on London Hale, allowing him to pick up the W in this match. Now, our next match, we had a very interesting tag match. We have these guys calling themselves the St. John Innocent College. Kind of weird name, but I don't know. They have Pornhub and Kevin Wing. These guys are dressed like schoolboys, and not like schoolboy, that you see, but more like um not the hat thing like you see with ACDC's Angus Young. But yes, but their opponents are the Gym Bros. I don't know. It was a very unique match. I mean, its own way. I mean, not to compare others, but this one is a very unique match, how they were doing it. But much like it, I wasn't too sure how this one was going to be because I never seen these guys before. I never have. I have, like I said, I have seen many of their previous events in the past, but not never these guys. But it was, of course, a nice pinfall by both members of the Gym Bros onto Pornhub with the pinfall, and just like that, it was over. They applied each of them a double elbow, and then 1, 2, 3, they pin him, and it was over right from there. Now, our next match is one of two title matches. We have the setup Asian, all Asian women's title. The current champion, Matt Chat, who I have seen on various occasions, takes on the first and only female from Taiwan, from Puzzle. Yes, Taiwan, I mentioned this. Taiwan is part of the whole alliance with the Asian Pacific, and she's the first female. And it's interesting. Matchat is the first Thailand female wrestler, and it's interesting that these two are the first of their own respected countries. I'm sure we'll see more women coming in from the respected countries, but it was a pretty good one. I wasn't too sure how this was gonna go. Now, I have to say in this one, Manchat, who is the, how do I say, the local person, the local hero, even though the fans were booing her, was gonna fall in disfavor, and she did. She applied a backdrop driver and allowed her to retain the belt. And then, of course, she did a little promo and incited to something to I forgot. I think the opponent's name is Princess Pistachio. Yeah, that's a weird name. The one she won, but yeah, Pistachio. I don't know what she said. And then she goes on rambling, and here comes Monomoth, demanding that he gets a title shot for that belt. Now, as I said before, the dude is homosexual. I have nothing against it, but Mad Chat was like saying, "No way, I'm not gonna give you that belt." She was not happy. However, it appears that it is gonna happen. I'm not too sure exactly because they were throwing on the screen. The whoever was doing the camera work didn't give a good shot. I'm just was disappointed on that. But it seems it's gonna happen, and Manchin was really, really, really pissed off. But I thought I heard a voice in the background. Wasn't too sure what that was about. Hopefully I get information on that. But I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, let's go. I think that's pretty much it for what we have for that. Now let's move on to our next match. Our next one is a very interesting one. We have uh Sholo and Parko. These guys are from the promotion Puzzle from Taiwan. They take on, of course, the local guys from Thailand from Setup. Uh, Anton Alonso and Master Bouchard. Now, I never seen these guys before, but the match was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was very impressive. But to me, watching this match, I had a feeling that this was gonna go because Anton Alonso and Master Bouchard are known as the Good Deal, since they are the local wrestlers in Thailand. I would presume that they were gonna be the ones to walk out as the winners, and of course they did when they did a double pinfall on their opponents, and just like that, they ended up winning. Now, our next match, we have Shivam, who is the ace of SetUp Thailand Pro Wrestling. Yes, every promotion has an ace, and he is their ace. Faces off against one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and we're talking about, yes, dickheads, Zack Sabre Jr. That's right. The master dickhead is in the ring. Now, of course, people would turn to Zack Sabre Jr. because he's a well recognized wrestler. You know that his technical abilities in this match would have been the real factor because we've seen how incredible and very talented Zack Sabre Jr. is, especially for a wrestler of him doing mostly submissions. And it did work. I wasn't too sure that if there was any submissions that he can try to use to put away Shivam. But unfortunately, it did work when he applied a simple armbar, forcing Shivam to tap out. Now, our next match is for the SetUp Openweight World Championship. The current champion, Jonathan Johnson, defends his belt against El Phantasmo. That's right, guys. The same El Phantasmo from GOD, formerly of the Bullet Club. He was there too, along with Zack Sabre Jr., two wrestlers representing New Japan. As I said before, because of the alliance with the Asian Pacific wrestling scene in those general facilities, led to this. And I thought it was a pretty good match. Now, of course, you probably would have thought, okay, El Phantasmo would have been the deciding factor to win the belt. But however, you look at Jonathan Johnson, who is the local. He is the current SetUp Openweight champion. So you would think, okay, will it remain with Thailand or El Phantasmo will be the champion and he has to go back and forth to Thailand? Well, I don't know. But in the end, it was El Phantasmo pissed off the referee, shoved him, but Jonathan Johnson applied an inside cradle. The referee went 1, 2, 3, just like that, fast count. It was disappointing, lost. However, during the post match, Jonathan Johnson, who in fact was successful in retaining his belt, received a message from the Death Samurai Akira, so he'll be actually coming to challenge him for his belt. Uh, can't wait to see that. Hopefully, I get to see it. But yes. So, what do I think the show? I had to say it was pretty good. Certain matches I did like, even if I didn't know majority of these wrestlers. Then yeah, I'm cool with it. So I think that's pretty much it right now with SetUp. Let's move on with Stardom. Okay, Stardom in Kyoto. Now this is the much recent one that took place on at the KBS Hall on the 24th of March. However, I want to put this on record for everybody. I haven't seen the other one that took place on the 23rd yet. Basically, if you guys want to know, I don't have Stardom World. I have another ways to watch these, but yeah. But I will get to that once it uploads from where I'm watching it. But this one is a very special one. I think many of you may like. Now, let's start from the very beginning of this event all the way to the end. It opened up with Aya Sakura taking on Yuna Mizumori. Now, this is part of a judgment with Yuna Mizumori. As you know, recently, um, Sakura Kurura last month in February made the announcement that she wants to join Cosmic Angel. So basically, they put her in apprenticeship position. However, a month later, at the start of the second day of the Cinderella tournament, Aya Sakura returned had a match against Sakura Kurara and Mai Sakurai, where she teams up with her best friend Hanako. She made perfectly clear that she was going to join the cusp and be the first member. So basically, it put everybody in a state of confusion. So basically, they decided to accept Aya's proposal. However, Tam was not happy at the fact that Yuna actually made that choice without consenting with her instead of messaging her. You know how that thing is, don't ever do things while you're on text message without talking about this person face to face. Well, that kind of happened. However, um, I do know what happened with Sayaka Kurahu that took place the day before, but I haven't seen it yet. But I have to say, Aya did a pretty good job as well. I mean, she does have that martial arts status that I feel is almost similar to Tam Nakano. I mean, Tam Nakano does have a kung fu background, but Aya was very surprising me. But unfortunately, um, Yuna Mizumori actually um, put her in her new move called T the TP Sunshine, which is tropical sunshine, where you have them on your shoulder and they face plant onto the mat, and just like that, it was over. However, Aya Sakura was disappointed with the loss. However, she said something that really drew the attention of Yuna. So she decided, that both her and Sayaka Kurawa will face each other, but only one of them will be declared as uh, the first member to join Cosmic Angel immediately. So basically, that's how it's gonna be. I mean, I would prefer they just take both of them. That would have been great, but we'll see. Now, um, our next match, we have Oedo Tai consistent of Rina and Starlight Kid taking on Stars Yuzuki and Mayu Iwatani. Now, it's no secret that we have seen Yuzuki take on Rina for the future belt, which was unsuccessful. However, this match played an important role due to the fact that it was announced when I said this on a previous news update that Yuzuki will be leaving Stardom. So basically, that kind of the story that played out. However, it was Rina with the Pink Devil, which is known as the Gory Bomb, that finished off Yuzuki and picked up the win. Then, of course, Rina did set up that it was a sad shame that she was leaving. She had a lot of fun with her, but that someday they will meet down the road. However, as soon as the match was over, this brand new trainee named Rian showed up and asked Starlight Kid to be her debut opponent. Starlight Kid seems very intrigued that a rookie chose her to be her opponent. But Rina, in my opinion, she got a little paranoid for some odd reason, calling Rihanna she's out to get her future belt. But the way I see it, Rihanna never talked about that. She never mentioned anything about her future belt. I think she was becoming paranoid, thinking that rookies will be coming after her left and right. I mean, yes, that happened recently with Hanako, with Yuzuki, but Rian hasn't even initiated that just yet. Her priority right now is having that debut match with Starlight Kid. I feel Starlight Kid was more intrigued with Rian asking her to be her debut opponent. I don't know. I feel like a part of me would like to think that what if Rian joins joins uh Oedo Tai? I would be like, and I wouldn't be surprised if Starlight Kid invites her. I mean, that to me, it's something is a possibility. I mean, we talked about Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara, and you know, we did mention that none of the other factions who haven't taken any rookies like Odotai or Queen's Quest had any interest. So, I mean, it would make absolute sense, but we'll just see what happens. But like I said, Rihanna's got cuckoo bananas, the fact. Now, our next match, we have the other members of Oedo Tai, consistent of Ruaka, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora. They take on Queen's Quest, Lady C, Azumi, and Saya Kamitani. Of course, this match was going to be a very interesting type, um, because we know that Queen's Quest They had their fair issues with one of their longest rivals, and that is, of course, Oedo Tai. If you guys know the story, Oedo Tai and Queens West were two of the oldest factions within Stardom, like long before Stars, long before um, Cosmic Angels, God's Eye, those guys. But yes, that kind of sets it in. But it was Momo Watanabe with the Peach Sunrise onto Saya Kamitani that pick up the win. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a card being played here since Momo picked up the win on Kamitani. Those who do know, Kamitani along with Utami Hayashida are the current tag champions, and Momo pinned her. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. That if we know that Crazy Star issued the challenge, we're yet to hear when that's going to happen, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have an interesting three-way tag match. We have team number one, EXV, consistent of Xena and Mina Shirakawa, versus um, FWC, Koguma and Azuki from Stars. And then finally, Crazy Stars, consistent of Suzuki and um, May Sita. I thought this match was pretty interesting because here's the thing: we do know that FSW is of course a two-time Goddesses of Stardom tag champions. That is, but we haven't seen them if they made a play for those just yet. However, we do know that Crazy Star are making a play for that. Um, I'm sure Xena will love nothing more to have a championship on her waist, but unfortunately, she was the one who received the fall from Suzuki with the tequila shot, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting combination in of team. Now, I did mention we do have a one-time only from the former members of DDM. We have Mai Sakurai, Natsupoi Mirai, Suri, Maika, and Julia. Now, I did mention Himeka and Tekla are not involved in this. We know Tekla is still out on injury. Himeka is officially retired, so this will have to do. But they're facing against their opponents of the combinations of two different factions. First, from God's Eye, we have um, Rana Yagami, Saki Kashima, and Ami Sori. Now, we do have members of Cosmic Angels, first with the apprentice Sayaka Kurara, and Tam Nakano, and Sayuri Onoi. So you would think there was going to be some interesting moments. There was one moment where Natsupoi did a little team up with Tam. I don't know what was that all about. But it was interesting how this was going to be. But however, it was Natsupoi who picked up the win with the fairy gift onto Sayaka Kurara. It is interesting that, of course, we have seen Kurara had taken falls from the members of the Cosmic Angels. I feel like this is a best way for her to learn. But of course, it's a sad day because we do know recently that Mirai and Julia will be leaving Stardom. Oh yeah, and Mai Sakurai as well. So basically, three of the six wrestlers involved in this match are going to be leaving. Um, but there was one interesting thing that happened right after the post match comment. Of course, Julia was choking Natsupoi, which I'm sure that was only payback for what happened 2 years ago. But anyway, Masakurai said that she had something to say to Tam Nakano. Now, Tam did hear about that, and she did stated that she's not going to be her opponent for her last match, but she's eager to hear what she has to say. So, whatever it is, it's kind of interesting. Now, our next match is a bit of an interesting one. We have Mayu Amasaki versus Utami Ayashida. Now, the reason I find this interesting, those who do know, Mayu Amasaki's debut match was against Utami Ayashida during a New Blood event. However, after that match, it was Utami Ayashida who invited Miyu Amasaki to be her to join I mean not why am I keep saying Cosmic Angels? Because I'm a fan of that. But anyway, asked her to join Queen's Quest, and of course, Miyu Amasaki gladly accepted. So it would make sense because we do know from recent reports that I mentioned on the previous episode, Utami Ayashida will be also leaving Stardom, and I feel like it's a great fitting for her because We know that it was Utami who brought her in, and I'm sure she will love nothing more to have that match with her. I don't know, she's like saying that I want you to do your best when I'm gone. Because we do know Utami Ishida was the one who brought her into Queen's Quest. And I thought it was a very fitting story. But however, Amasaki would have picked up a great win against her, but unfortunately she ended up on the German suplex. So I can't wait to see what Amasaki will do in Stardom now that Utami will be leaving soon, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now our next match is for the New Blood Tag Team titles. We have EXV consistent of Waka and Hanako taking on Wingordi consistent of Saya, Ida, and Hana. Now, I want to put this on note on many people. When this match was officially announced, there was a part of me that would think, is there a possibility that Hana and Saya Ida will drop these belts? Because as you know, Hanan is the winner of the Cinderella tournament, and would have been the possibility of her winning the white belt. I don't know. That was something that was still stuck in my head. I wasn't too sure. But what I like about this match is that Waka, as you know, has never won the future belt, but she always desired to win the new blood tag belts. But however, she wanted to do it with Hanako, and of course, for a while, Wingori, consistent of Saida and Hanan, were very hesitant, saying that you guys haven't shown any promising. Like, I think the idea what they were saying is that this was a makeshift team that was just forged after forming EXV, and it's like not a promising at all, despite the fact we do know Hanako is a big individual. She's strong. That would have been the deciding factor on that. As for Waka, we know that she has picked up wins here and there, but however, how will that play out? Because we do know Hanan and Saida, they have been very cohesive since they formed this tag team together. And of course, winning the New Blood tag titles were one of those deciding factors. But in the end, of course, it was Ida with the Dragon Sleeper onto Hanako, forcing her to tap and ends the story right there. But the obvious question is who will be, of course, the next opponents for those tag belts. Now, recently I did see some comments like a while back when the whole thing with Sayaka Kurata and Aya Sakura first were initiating who was going to join Cosmic Angels. Someone mentioned, why not have them be winning the New Blood tag belts? I mean, yes, it would be a good idea, but the one thing that really strike me is that they have to learn how to be coexisting as a tag team. And I think many of you would agree with me on that. I mean, I would like to see two of Cosmic Angel members win rookies to pick to win the New Blood tag belts. It would be an interesting thing to watch, but we just gotta wait and see from where do we go from here on out. So I think that's pretty much it right now with Stardom. I believe it's time to move on with Rhodes Wrestling Academy. Our last review, this is from the Rhodes Wrestling Academy. Now, those who are not familiarized with this is not an actual promotion. This is a wrestling school created by none other than Dustin Rhodes, Cody's brother, and of course, the son of the late American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Now, yes, folks, Dustin does have a wrestling school in Texas. He runs the entire shebang himself. Now they do have these things like I've seen in when I was going to see Level Up Pro Wrestling Academy with their showcase events, and they always have those shows once a month. However, with the Rose Wrestling Academy, they have them like every 3 months or so. But they did establish championship belts on this one. I might have seen a few of them. Certain wrestlers from AEW did make appearances in the early shows, but they haven't seen recently. But however, there have been wrestlers who have appeared in other promotions, and so on and so on. But we do have three title matches happening. We do have the RWA title, which is the men's title. the women's title, and of course the inaugural tag team titles that were initiated. That was going to be our main event. So right now, let's get from the top of the show, the start of the show, all the way to the end. And this happened on the this Sunday on the 24th of March. Um, we have the RWA title defended in a three-way. We have Ozzy versus Sid Bennett versus Corey Constantine. Now, however, Corey was not happy with the fact that his title was defended in a three-way. Basically, he would have preferred in a one-on-one scenario, but that did not happen. However, this match was so excuse me, so intense because everybody were nearly could have won to pick up the match, but however, one person had to kick out the other person or the person kicked out. However, it was like that. I mean, we saw that. But the only deciding factor is this: we do know that Corey Constantine, the champion, didn't initially had to be pinned, but fortunately, he did got pinned by CD Bennett, and just like that, it was over. He becomes our brand new champion, which is very interesting because he had that belt for a while, and I think he defended not only in RWA but also in other promotions as well. Now, our next match, we have a mixed tag team match. We have Slate Temple and Shaka Menchaca or something like that, taking on Kaylee Lynn and Alex Wild. Don't know much about these guys, but I did noted that Alex Wild um, was wrestling barefoot. Someone made reference to, of course, Kevin Von Erich, but they also alluded the fact that there is another person, two more people that do wrestle, of course, barefoot, and that is Marshall Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich's son, and of course, Speedball Mike Bailey. Oh yeah, and of course, Jacob Fatu. They kind of alluded that, but thing is, when I look at Alex Wild, he doesn't have like that same kind of Texas feel that we see with, of course, with Von Erichs. But yeah, but it was an okay match. But the one thing that was crazy is, of course, Shaka made out with Alex, and somehow he got disoriented, and then he got pinned, and they picked up the win just like that. Our next match, we have Kimber Lena taking on someone with a very unique name. Don't ask me who made this name. I don't even know, and I don't even want to know. This person's name is Mana Margeddon, which is Armageddon, but you put Mana Armageddon or something like that. I don't know. It was a very interesting, unique name, but I'm having a hard time trying to say it. That's the thing. Uh, but I wasn't too sure how this match was gonna go. But it was Mana Margeddon who actually picked up the win with the stomp onto Kimberlina. So that says it up pretty well. Now our next match is for the RWA Women's Title. We have Iris. This person has a 2S on their name. It's IRISS. Don't ask me. I don't even want to know. I cannot give you the answer. She faces the champion Drea. Of course, Drea, who has to be confident enough to believe that she will walk out as a champion. But however, that wasn't the case. I mean, she tried to put Iris away no matter what, but Iris, like a cockroach, refuses to stay down, or someone who refuses to give up in some capacity. But it was, of course, Iris with the schoolboy. 1, 2, 3, she becomes our brand new RWA Women's Champion. Now, our next match is a very interesting one. We have this guy named Lythos who has like this kind of gladiator type looking dude facing off a guy named Hamburger Dan. I don't know who he is, but the guy brought hamburgers. I'm like, man, I wish I could have been there. I would have loved to have a hamburger by him. But I thought this match was pretty interesting because, we have Lythos, who is the strongest individual. But you would think that, of course, Lythos would have been the one to pick up the win by looking at him, or Hamburger Dan, who would have had the miracle to pick up the win. But in this case, it wasn't that. It was Lythos with the camel clutch onto Hamburger Dan, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have Mr. Houston versus Movie Mike. Now, this guy's name, Movie Mike, his Mike is spelled with MYK. Don't ask me why. I don't know, but it does have a little bit of a ring to it. But however, this match was so good because these guys did everything. They threw in a bit of the speed element into this match. Now, of course, speed will be the one deciding factor, but however, it was, of course, Mr. Houston with a big elbow onto Movie Mike, and just like that, it ended. So he picked up the win. Now, our main event is for the inaugural RWA tag team titles. We have the RWA Outlaws, consistent of Romero Cruz and RTJ. They take on the Texas Outlaws, Wade and Wayne Rhodes. Yes, these guys are in fact Rhodes members of the family. I mentioned this. They are in fact nephews of Dustin Rhodes. However, they never acknowledged their last name. They just referred to them as Wyatt and Wayne. Now, why is this match has been determined? Well, the RWA Outlaws were upset at the fact that there's another team calling themselves Outlaws as well, because they felt that, hey, our name was given to us by Dustin Rhodes. So that kind of sets the whole thing. Uh, but however, you ask yourself, okay, how this is gonna win? Is there's gonna be an advantage with Wyatt and Wayne because of their family lineage would have been a factor to play out. I'm sure it would have been something we would have seen in matches like these, but however, that wasn't the thing that happened. But there was a roll up by RTJ onto Wayne, but he used the tights to pick up the win, and this was a very disappointing loss. I'm sure that Wayne was not happy that the tights were used, but I wouldn't be surprised if down the road that the Texas Outlaws will get another opportunity for this match. Now, some of you may question, why are these brothers calling themselves the Texas Outlaws? There's a specific reason you should know. It was foretold by Dustin that his father, Dust, Dusty Rhodes, was part of a tag team known as the Texas Outlaws. What better way to pay homage to, of course, your grandfather or so, to carry that family lineage? So it would make sense on that. So, but yeah, what do I think about the show? It was okay. I mean, not a lot of wrestlers I know, but very interesting how each of them has a very unique thing. So, yeah. So I think that's pretty much it with every of our review. I believe it's time for some news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with, of course, with updates with the promotions for their upcoming events. Now, as you know, I mentioned by the end of this month on March 31st, RevPro will have their latest event called Revolution Rumble, which is kind of like the Royal Rumble, and this will take place on the 31st of March. However, more names are being added and added as we get closer and closer to the date. However, they just added a new name, RKJ, or as we know him, Ricky Knight Jr. If you guys don't know who he is the nephew of Zack Knight and, of course, Saraya. That's right, he's part of the Knight family. Very talented wrestler. He has like this charisma where he's like trying to continue the family lineage. You should check him out, guys. You just either go by his name, Ricky Knight Jr., or of course RKJ. So check him out. Now, West Coast Pro has announced a brand new show that will happen early in April on April 5th. It was announced it's gonna be called West Coast Wasted. Catchy name, West Coast Wasted. But anyway, if you know the acronym of the West Coast Wasted is WCW. Oh man. But anyway, it was announced that the West Coast Pro title will be defended. Well, I like to hear what Kevin Blackwood has to bitch about because he said that he'll never defend the belt. Well, he's going to defend it against Gregory Sharp. If those who don't know who he is, I have seen him before. I mostly see him wrestle based out of Las Vegas, but he has a bit of like a technical aspect, bit of a he had like that look like he's going to kill you. But yes, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's gonna happen on April 5th. Now, finally, this one is something I was wondering when it was going to be announced. It's going to be happen. This is Fortune Dream 9. Now, this is a show that happens once a year, and this is produced and organized by the legendary Kenta Kobashi. Now, if those who aren't familiarized in the Japanese wrestling scene, Kenta Kobashi is have wrestled throughout his Japanese career with All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, and all this, and he has been well recognized as a wrestler, and he does these shows every year. Last year, he did had uh, our favorite pirate princess Kairi takes on Unagi. That was one of my favorite matches, and of course, it's gonna happen in Corkin Hall on the 12th of June. So I'm looking forward to that. They just recently announced a match for that particular match. We have So Daimanji. He takes on against Go Shiozaki. So that's going to be interesting match to watch. So hopefully I get a chance to see it, but we'll see. So anyway, let's move on. For the WrestleCon events, WrestleCon update in Philly, they just announced four new names. We have Japanese wrestlers, mostly they've been announced. Two of them come from, of course, Dragon Gate. We have KZ and Saito, so they will be participating in WrestleCon, but they even brought in two Yoshi wrestlers. The first one is Ram Kaicho, and of course, the next one, Saki. And I'm so bummed out because I always wanted to meet her, But yes, so that's going to happen. So, any of my subscribers who made plans to go to Philly and you're fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, then you guys know who's going to be there. So, now you know. Now let's move on with some interesting developments. As you know, I recently announced Motor City Machine Guns will be leaving, are now leaving TNA because their contracts are up. It turns out that they're not the only ones. There's of course Killer Kelly. It's just been said that she's been finishing up with TNA. Um, this was reported by PW Cider, but of course, Fightful Select had to, how to say, verified if this report was true, and it turns out it was true. However, TNA are now teasing a potential new tag partner from Masha Slamovich while this whole process with Killer Kelly is happening. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Tokyo Sports actually did something, and I like to put this part of the Stardom report as well. As you know, we have been hearing who's been leaving Stardom recently. We do know that Julia was the first to be announced that she'll be leaving. We know she'll be helping out Rossy Ogawa's upcoming promotion that he's creating. But four new names have announced that they were leaving. We have Utami Hayashida, um, Mirai, Masakurai, and of course Rookie Yuzuki. However, Sayaka Mitani reported to Tokyo Sports that she was thinking about leaving Stardom, but however, she decided to stay because she loves Stardom. So it's very interesting. I'm sure many people who are Kamitani fans would have been disappointed or saddened that she would be leaving, but if you guys are happy she made the choice to stay, then at least you got nothing to worry about. However, there was one single factor that was mentioned about this whole story about Stardom wrestlers leaving. Now, when this decision was made, there were mention of names of people that will be leaving by the end of this month. Now, Bushiroad Fight president Taru Okada uh, said that the reason this was not announced about leaving is because they want to wait until the end of the Cinderella tournament. So it would make sense. I mean, they want to focus on one thing at a time, and I think the Cinderella tournament was the one thing that kind of they had to focus on until that decision was made. But he did say that he's open up to the opportunities for the ones who are staying at Stardom. So I don't know exactly what kind of opportunities, but I'm sure it's going to be good. And recently, I did hear that Toto Okada was praised by certain people about how he was booking the matches. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's perfect, but he did pretty good job, like making the matches exciting. So we'll see how that rolls up. Now, finally, our last development. As you know, when I reviewed West Coast Pro's Marvelous Coast, Starboy Charlie, who was the previous West Coast Pro champion, dropped the belt to Kevin Blackwood. And it was revealed that the reason Starboy Charlie dropped the belt is because he is on his way to Japan. Um, he will be doing a tour and he'll be training in Marvelous. And this is the same thing we saw with Titus Alexander. Those who don't remember, Titus Alexander was the previous champion and he dropped the belt to Starboy Charlie. But the only reason he dropped the belt was because he was on his way as well to Japan. And now we're seeing that similar situation with Starboy Charlie, that he has to drop the belt in order to go to Japan. So it would make absolute sense. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Blackwood is given that opportunity. But we only will wait and see what's decided. We do know that West Coast Pro and Marvelous are in a working relationship. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. So I think that's pretty much it with everything with our news updates and, of course, our reviews. I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I will review the much recent shows from GCW, Role Model and The Block is Hot. So those two are our top priority to get out of the way. Now, as you know, I'm still behind on Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan, and a few other events. So I don't know when I'll catch up to those. But, however, I will catch up to everything else as we get closer and closer and closer. But until then, as I said, GCW's recent events for this past weekend, this weekend will be, of course, the priority for Monday. So we'll see what happens. And if anything else, I'll let you guys know. But for now, this is the plan, and we'll just leave things as it is. But for all of you, I will see you guys on the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.